Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of MQMR Behind the Scenes. As today's guest, we are honored to have MQMR's president and co-founder, Michael Steer. Mike, welcome to Behind the Scenes.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. All right, let's get started. So this is not just any year, but a very special year for MQMR. Can you tell us, when did the company get started?
Yeah, it's a big milestone year for us. We are officially celebrating our 15th birthday this month. Actually, this month in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have a big virtual birthday blowout bash for our MQMR team. And if I look back, going back to 2011, the industry and our company has evolved since then. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of positive changes, both in the industry and at MQMR. And I'm looking forward to 15 more years at MQMR.
That's so great. So speaking of going 15 years back, how did the idea come about? Where did that come from to start this company?
Well, when you start a company, you never know where things are going to go. It actually started as an idea during a birthday breakfast in 2010. Happened to be my birthday that morning. My soon-to-be business partner at the time, Ben Maddock, had said, "Hey, let's go get breakfast. I have an idea." And he told me the idea. I was like, "That's great." He didn't realize it was my birthday. Later in the day, when we got to work, all the guys said, "Hey, let's go out to lunch for Steer's birthday." And Ben said, I didn't. How come you didn't tell me it was your birthday?" I was like, "Oh, it's not important." But he had this idea for this product that we called Bankers Performance, where we did payment reminders and surveys on behalf of lenders to identify early payment defaults, early payoffs, and consumer complaints. Which, if you remember, at the time in 2011, that's when Dodd-Frank was really starting to come about. And ironically, actually shut down our first product, which is what we started MQMR to do. And the first year, because shortly after we launched, we had some warehouse lending friends approach us to perform due diligence reviews. And we're like, okay, we've accompanied our credit team at Bank of America at the time as a passive participant, but we never actually performed a warehouse review. And we told them that. And they said, "Yeah, we don't really care. You guys are smart. Our vendors are not calling us back. They're taking forever to produce a report. Put together a sample report and we'll get you approved as a vendor." And so that kind of pivoted the direction of MQMR into what we are today as an audit risk and compliance firm. And so to kind of piggyback on that pivotal moment, we spent a weekend in a room, Ryan Freeze, Ben Maddock, and myself. We said, "We're not leaving until we put together a sample report." And we said, "We're going to answer one question." And that question is, if we were about to give a lender millions and millions of dollars in warehouse financing, what would we want to know? And why would we want to know that? And so we put together that sample report, we sent it to that warehouse friends, and they said, "All right, we're off to the races." And from there, we started to become an audit risk and compliance firm. And that's how MQMR started.
Wow. Well, speaking of 15 years ago, I imagine that feels both like a long time ago in some senses, and also like that time has flown by. But one more question about back then, 15 years ago. Did you know or have any idea that today you would be the president of a company that literally has hundreds of clients and adds so much value to lenders and servicers in the industry?
No.
A great, honest answer.
No, I mean, at the time we were young, dumb, and just hungry. And I think that's what entrepreneurship's all about. Everyone who sets out to start their own business has big dreams and they want to make an impact in whatever they're deciding to do, whether that's a restaurant that's serving food or that's manufacturing a particular product or any industry for that matter. I knew that we wanted to do something entrepreneurial in nature, and we were in the mortgage industry. And if you think about it, most businesses fail in the first year. And we kept telling ourselves, one more day, one more week, one more month, one more year, we have to keep going and have staying power. And when you have staying power and you build a strong reputation, people start to call you, right? When you're doing great work with great people and you have a great culture, people start to call you saying, "What else can you do? How can you fix my problem?" If you can fix their problems, they're going to call you back and they'll likely pay you for it. And they'll pay a premium if you can fix their big problems. And I want to kind of compare where we are today to where we started. And so I think for the first 5, 6 years, and we were just trying to make it. And we had a quote on the board that says, just keep swimming, Nemo, right? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And that's all we were trying to do, is just keep swimming to get to the next thing and make sure that we could survive as a company. But in 2018, I had a coworker come up to me and said, "Hey, what are our core values and what's our purpose and our mission?" I was like, "That's a great question. Like, do great work with great people." And I realized at that time, like, we weren't intentional with our culture like we are today. And so we got deliberate and intentional with our culture, what it is and what it isn't, who we hire and who we don't, how we do things and how we don't do them. And then we defined our purpose, which is to empower people, people being clients and teammates, to elevate the mortgage industry. And so that sits behind everything that we do, um, and trying to create new products or deliver a solution, our existing solutions to our existing clients, or empowering our own teammates to become better professionals and people just in their lives, both inside and outside of work. And so if I look back at those 15 years, there are a lot of long days, a lot of long nights, and there's been a lot of people that have passed through the MQMR halls. But everybody's brought something to the table, and I've learned from every single individual that presently is here or is not here.
First of all, Mike, thank you for the history lesson of the company. And I know I can speak for so many companies in our industry when I say they're thankful that you and that team back then kept swimming. So an amazing story to get here. All right, so let's focus on today and go again behind the scenes a little bit of MQMR. You mentioned something that I want to hit on, which is you wanted from the very beginning to do great work with great people. I believe that a company is as strong as the people who work for it. So when you think about the people here, what do you and our team look for when we want to hire someone at MQMR? And what makes someone a fit here that would be a great partner to a lender or servicer?
Yeah, a few things. And we put in systems to try to identify that during the hiring process. But we're looking for people who are intellectually curious, right? Asking questions and not just doing what they're told, but understanding the why behind what they're doing. Because if you understand the why, you can better define the how. We're looking for people with high emotional intelligence, who are professional, who understand what we're trying to accomplish. And I think most important is we have a jerk-free policy. So we're looking for good people who actually want to do good work. And it doesn't matter how talented they are. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're a jerk to our clients, to our vendors, or to our teammates, then it just doesn't work out. And I think you can define a company by what they will tolerate, or the culture of the company is what they will tolerate and what they won't tolerate. And I think we're continuously challenging that to make sure that we're tolerating less of what we are and who we want to become, and tolerating more of the things that are getting us into that right direction, which is a strong culture. And then I want to kind of go back to a the individuals who are performing the work. If you look at our line of work, compliance, high risk, potentially high reward or high consequence game. We can't just throw a checklist at a client. A successful individual at our company is someone who's actively listening, right? Not listening to be able to answer the question, but listening to understand. The individual is also trying to understand the regulatory pressures that the client is under, right? Because our clients, having been in that seat before as a compliance officer yourself, there's a lot of pressure, internal pressure, external pressure, shareholders, investors, warehouse lenders, examiners, regulators, consumers, everything is just getting thrown at them, and they're responsible for the things that happen and the things that don't happen. And I
And
think
all at once sometimes.
and all at once, yeah, all at once, especially in today's environment.
Yeah.
And then lastly is, looking at us as an extension and a partner to their team, right? We're not a "I got you" type of provider. We're, "Hey, here's what we identified. Here's the impact that it could have to your organization. Here are some recommendations that you could do to plug that gap." And so I always tell our team, like, let's not view this as a transaction. Let's view this as a long-term, long-time relationship that we're trying to cultivate.
I love that. And I want to expand on that just a little bit more. It was great hearing about the type of people that work here, and I would count myself as so lucky to be among them. So let's think of it from the lender or servicer perspective. When a client signs up with MQMR for one product, or as we know, as many of them have, multiple products with MQMR, what do they get?
Peace of mind, right? I always say sleep tight at night knowing your compliance is right. That's my compliance rhyme. You had to insert a dad joke in here sometime.
Nice rhyme.
Thank you. But operationally, I mean, the work that we do. We have our core solutions, but we customize it. And so what our core solution fits for one person may not fit for another in their business model. And so we're customizing our approach, we're customizing our communication. And if you look at the people who our clients are working with, our people are passionate about what they do. Right? When we send out our surveys to our clients, they often say, you have a deep bench of talented people that care. Right? I can pick up the phone and you'll call me back. And you have a sense of urgency. And you can tell that what our team does, they love doing what they do. They're not disengaged. And facts behind that, we measure our employee net promoter score, which is how likely are you to recommend friends and family or peers to work at MQMR? Nines and tens are promoters, sevens and eights are neutrals, sixes and below are detractors. And we are in the high 70s, oftentimes going into the low 80s. And most people don't know what the scale is, but it goes from negative 100 to 100. And so anything north of zero is positive. Best in class is usually in the 40s, but we're consistently achieving in the mid to high 70s and sometimes 80s, which is what I'd say world class, not just best in class across all industries. And so what that tells you is that our team wants to be here. They show up, they're engaged, and they're trying to climb higher, which is one of our core values, so that we can cultivate raving fans, our clients or our team, so that we can create solutions to their problems, so that we can make their lives easier. And I would kind of expand on that a little bit longer, is when clients sign up with us, sometimes they don't know what they're going to get, especially the new ones. And we always say, like, we don't check boxes, we strengthen foundations. And so we have clients that have used us for 9, 10, 12 years in a row on a particular product. And their policy or their executive says, you have to try somebody else. And we're like, okay, go ahead, try somebody else, but we'll see you next year. Not in kind of like a, let's, I don't know what the word is, but it's confidence, because we know that they're going to come back. And sure enough, many times this year, we've had people that have tried another vendor and they say, all right, we're back. We got that out of our way. We met our policy. We checked that box. We're back. And we say, why are you back? Is it because the vendor's work product was not as good as yours? Quality. We have quality in our name. The customer service was lacking. Right? They didn't call us back. They just told us what we wanted to hear, or didn't answer the second, the third, or the fourth question. They just said, hey, here it is. And they didn't go above and beyond. And we see that time and time again. And you've experienced it with the clients that you've worked with in the past, that they sometimes think that they're greener pastures because they can get a lower price, and then they realize, like, oh yeah, it was cheaper, but it was cheaper cost, cheaper results. And then they
Indeed.
come back and they realize, all right, MQMR is great to work with across the board. We're not perfect, but we take that feedback to heart when we miss the mark, and we try to make it right.
To your point, Mike, what really resonated with me is that the world-class, I agree with you, the world-class view that our teammates internally have and feel about MQMR is matched only by the view that our clients have of us and those raving fans that everyone who is at MQMR has cultivated. So on that note, while we have, as we've talked about, literally hundreds of clients, it's not yet, we have a growth mindset about it, it's not yet every lender and servicer in the industry. That's where we're on our way to going. So if on this call with us, there was a lender or servicer who was one of those not yet a client, what would you say to them? What's our value proposition, particularly maybe for a company that's trying to do everything themselves?
Yeah. I mean, where do you want to start?
How much time do we have?
Yeah, how much time do we have? How long is this recording for?
Right.
Um, I thought about this, and we don't check boxes, we strengthen foundations. We don't just find problems, we help you solve them. We often uncover problems that our clients didn't know that they had. So we're actually not only mitigating current risk, but we're also mitigating future risk, which is hard to quantify. It's like, hey, watch out for that red light up there. It's coming, or that speed bump, and you have a lowrider car, and you're gonna bottom out. So like those are hard to quantify. But one thing we do is we make compliance our problem, not theirs. They're understaffed, they're overburdened, and they're trying to keep up with everything. And our job is to help them anticipate the regulators or the regulations, not just answer the regulators. And as you know, our friend in our compliance team, Mike Barone, he always says, if you have one compliance officer, you need two. If you have two, you need four. If you have four, you need eight, and so forth. And so it doesn't matter the size of your organization. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with a client that said, I'm overstaffed in compliance. Right? I
No
think
such
it's the
thing.
opposite. No such thing at all.
Yeah.
They're always understaffed. They're always saying, I can't get to this. I'm worried about this. My reputation, I have personal responsibility on the line. I'm worried that this state's going to come in or the GSEs are going to come in. And they don't have to worry about that anymore. They partner with somebody like MQMR who's been there, who's done it, who's an industry thought leader, who is providing that anticipatory regulatory implementation and getting them ahead so that they can sleep tight at night, knowing that they're compliance right. And it allows them, I guess, peace of mind and comfort that they always say it's better to know and act than find out and react. It's better to know and act on the issues that were identified today than to find out from a regulator and then have to react to them, because we know that remediation and turnaround plans for consent orders or examination findings is costly in time, money, resources, reputational risk. So we always say, like, don't do nothing, do something, whether it's with us or somebody else. So that's what I would say to them in a nutshell. Trying to think what else. You know, we do audit risk and compliance for a living. We know who we are and we know who we're not. So we keep up with the regulations. We go to conferences. We're competitively priced. Our work and our client testimonials speak for themselves. And if they just give us a chance and at that, we often knock it out of the park. And then they come back and they're like, "What else can you do?"
Mike, there have been so many companies, more than we could count, who have benefited not just from giving us a chance, but from what they've been saved and how we've helped their companies save money and make money and help them grow. We'll save some of those examples for future conversations that I'll be happy to have with you. For now, though, we've talked a lot today about the history of MQMR, where it was and where it is today. So one more thought. Can you talk to me a little bit about where you think MQMR is going when you and I are talking 15 years from now? Where do you think we'll be?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about how we're a thought leader in the industry, and our clients come to us and say, "Hey, you're a trusted advisor," and the regulator or the GSE unofficially recommended you, and they are confident when they see the MQMR logo on the report. They know that we've done a thorough, comprehensive, bang-up job to make sure that we've um, uncovered any potential issues that the client can fix. So that's present day,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't think that changes. I think we continue to be a thought leader. We continue to anticipate what the regulations are going to be, and we're focused on evolution. Uh, Dogs don't chase parked cars, so you have to constantly evolve, grow or die. The mortgage landscape never stays still. It's always changing. Yesterday is not the same as today. Today is not the same as tomorrow, and tomorrow is not going to be the same as the next day. And so we are heavily investing in technology and innovative solutions to make our work better, smoother, streamlined, so that we can deliver that same raving fan customer experience and comfort and confidence to our clients, so they can predict that we could be more predictive to them. And we're going to continue to lead the charge, not just react to it. Uh, as you know, we're launching a MERS reconciliation solution, which is something that we've had clients ask for over the years, as you know, because working on it firsthand. We got something called compliance training that's coming out,
So
and we're
exciting.
onboarding new clients. I think that's exciting, and that's something that people have been saying, hey, we want something different than what's currently out there, and we're taking a different approach. And if I look at the future, um, I don't know what else we're going to get into, but our clients today have a one-stop shop. We don't do pre and post-closing QC, and we don't do licensing. But other than that, anything audit risk or compliance related that a mortgage lender or a mortgage servicer would need to be successful, we have that taken care of. And they can work with one team, one awesome culture of individuals that are out there trying to make a difference. And I think that's a differentiator from other competitors that we bump up against, is that not only can we support clients on the origination side, but we're equally as good on the servicing side. Usually it's one or the other. And because of our culture that we talked about with our engaged teammates who want to be here, and many of them have been here with us for a long time, like that's, that is the package. That is a package that you often don't find.
Mike, I'll tell you, you're so right when you say how things change. The only thing that's consistent in our industry, particularly related to compliance and risk management, is that things are constantly changing. And what a great feeling a lender or servicer would have knowing that they have a partner whose role it is, our sole role is to be dynamic with those changes and to help a company evolve and thrive with them. So with that, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I also want to, like you say, it's change is consistent, but so is the application of an interpretation of compliance. We have regulators that come in and interpret it or apply it a different way. And so we have to help our clients anticipate what those are. And so if anything's consistent, it's consistently inconsistent. And we bring consistency to the consistently inconsistent part of compliance.
I love it. Right? If only all of these rules that would come down would be black and white. But that is hardly ever the case, as you know. So we help people navigate that.
We sure do.
Okay. So, Mike, every guest who comes on behind the scenes gets asked the same question at the end. So I have one more question for you that is completely unrelated to mortgage, which is, as you know very well, as everyone at MQMR knows very well, I'm a huge fan of sports. So I want to leave you with this question, which is, Mike Steer, what is your all-time favorite in-person sports moment?
I don't know if I can narrow that down to just one. I've played in some really fun and exciting games in high school and college, and I grew up in DFW, so I saw a lot of Rangers and Stars and Mavericks and Cowboys game. I was been lucky to. I saw Nolan Ryan's seventh no hitter. I saw his 5,000 strikeout, and I saw his epic fight with Robin Ventura. And so I was like, how do you pick one of those? I don't know. I've make it a point every year to take my dad and my family to a Texas Longhorns football game. Yeah, last few years we've gone to Tuscaloosa, we've gone to Michigan, we've gone to Ohio State. We went to the A&M game after that long layoff between UT and Texas. And this year, thanks for asking, which you didn't ask.
I was about to. Anyway, where are you going this year, Mike?
This year, right now the plan is to go to Baton Rouge for an LSU game, which I've never been there, and I hear it's a pretty awesome experience. So I would probably, I don't know, like that Robin Ventura fight with Nolan Ryan was pretty epic. And to think, like, I was only seconds away from missing it because my friend and I were third base, eye level of it, and we were headed to go get cotton candy from the concession stands. And all of a sudden we hear this loud eruption from the crowd, and we turn around, and there's Robin Ventura charging the mound. And I was like, we were right there. I don't even know how old we were at the time, probably in elementary. And he puts him in the headlock and just starts, how it ends. But I don't know. I think that's a great question, and sports are a big part of countries and community, and as we're seeing with the World Cup. So I don't know, what's your favorite sports event?
Ooh, I have a lot. I just want to say real quickly, though, they'll be playing that video of that fight as long as baseball exists or longer. Just epic. There are a lot of moments, I think, as well, that I could say. If I had to pick just one, in 2018, I went to a World Series game with my wife. Our daughter, who I now go most of the time with, as you know, was a little too young to go then. And we're at game 4 of the World Series, and the game was scoreless all the way into the 6th inning. There's just this tension that was rising, right? And finally, in the bottom of the 6th, the Dodgers scored a run, and we took the lead, and the place was going berserk, but we still had 2 on base. And this guy named Yasiel Puig came up to hit, who was a tremendous character and was beloved in the Dodgers community. And while we were still going crazy for having finally just taken the lead, he came up and hit a mammoth home run. And it was the most bonkers atmosphere that I've ever seen. I'm glad you asked me my favorite in-person sports moment, because if we expanded it to what I've seen, like on TV, there's no way I can narrow it down. But in person, I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And I'll say, I think what you feel, Mike, which is the thing about sports is it creates memories. And those memories can be multi-generational, right? Your parents, your kids. It's amazing. And so I think that's why people like it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.